Welcome back to Ramble with Rob. I first of all want to say that I'm sorry this video is late. I know I usually post on a Monday, but since the new moon in Aries, everything's just been absolutely crazy over here. So I first of all want to apologise for today's video being a whole day later. Secondly, today's video is a pick a card tarot reading. So you guys really enjoyed the last two, so I'm going to do another pick a card tarot reading today. We're going to do a pick a card tarot reading based on what guidance you need for the week ahead. So I'm going to put 3 different piles with 3 different crystals on the screen in just a second. And I want you to just take a nice big deep breath and see which pile you're drawn to, whether that's pile 1, 2 or 3. And it could be due to the cards or it could be down to the crystal. Either way, pick whichever one you're immediately drawn to, trust your first thoughts, and that is the guidance that you need for the week ahead. Let's get straight into it. So here's the 3 piles. Take a nice deep breath and choose the one that you're intuitively drawn to first, whether that be pile 1 on the left, pile 2 in the middle, or pile 3 on the right. If you chose pile number 1, the evil eye necklace, then this is your message. The evil eye to me represents being protected against negative energy. It's repelling energy back to the sender and it's keeping your energies nice and clear. So you might want to either invest in some evil eye amulets or coins, or you might even want to do a little bit of a cleanse, like some incense, get a sound bowl, have a nice relaxing spiritual detox bath, for example. But there's definitely something for this collective about protecting their energy, and that could be the reason that you've been drawn to pile number 1, which has the protective evil eye on there as well. Or it could be that you've recently been doing new things to protect your energy. You might have invested in some wards, for example, or you're starting to dabble in transmutation. So take it however it resonates. But your 3 moon cards that come out for you is, the first one is the 5 of Cups, which in this tarot deck is all about grief. The second one is the Fool, which is about change. And the third one is the 3 of Wands, which is about communication in this tarot deck. And it was 0101 as I said that. So I really get the feeling that this collective have probably undergone quite a little bit of heartbreak, and it's potentially changed the way that they're viewing connections or the way that they're viewing the future. And that's in turn affecting the way that you communicate or the way that you receive communication. And ultimately, we've got further clarity on each one of these cards, so we'll get straight into it. So the first one is the 5 of Cups, and in this deck, it is about grief, but it's also clarified by the Knight of Cups, which to me speaks about making sure that you're doing the emotional healing that you need to be doing. So make sure you're fully invested in your own journey, in your own healing journey, and you're not allowing past connections to affect your current cycle or even your future cycles. Don't self-sabotage connections because of issues from previous connections, for example. And the 3 of Wands asks you to continue looking ahead. So as heavy it can feel when we've lost people or connections end, or we've even moved to a new job, for example, because we thought the grass was greener, sometimes we can think that we're missing out or we regret making those decisions. But just stand strong in your power and know that the universe is telling you to keep moving forward. You won't be in this grief reminiscent mindset for very long. And ultimately with the Fool, it's about embracing change. It's about acknowledging that people constantly change, cycles constantly change, and it's really important that we adapt and we overcome whatever situation's presenting itself to us. So don't be afraid to do the healing work, and it's important to acknowledge that sometimes we do need a little bit of help from someone, but ultimately you're the person who can free yourself from this stoic energy. It's about acknowledging that you can lift yourself up from this trapped feeling with the 4 of Swords, and ultimately you can open the colourful window where a beautiful bright world awaits you. But it's about empowering yourself, motivating yourself, and actually finding that motivation to get up and do that. But also I'd be open to collaborating with people. Don't see it as a weakness or as a sign of being fragile or that someone's taking your independence away when you ask for help. We all need help in certain cycles, so definitely don't be afraid because you've got somebody watching over you here, or it could indicate that you've got a masculine in the spirit realm who's looking after you. The 4 of Wands is the final card that clarifies the Fool, and to me this speaks about you building a real solid foundation but also celebrating as well. So I do feel like once you've been able to get through this cycle, you're able to take yourself almost a couple of steps back and reflect on it properly in the future. You'll be able to see that it was a blessing. I think that the home that you're building for yourself and the people that you're celebrating with are going to genuinely be there to support you and uplift you rather than keeping you small and keeping you trapped in the head. The Nine of Swords to me speaks about anxieties, things playing on your mind, really heavy burdens that are weighing you down. And ultimately, these are the things that need to change. It's about empowering yourself and acknowledging that sometimes we need to take the leap of faith. And on the Fool, I'm always drawn to, we've got a lot of resources in this bag. We've got everything that we need to actually start a new cycle or start a whole new life for ourselves. And equally, we can take the people with us who have got our best interest at heart or do want to look after us and want to be a part of our journey. So don't fear change. I think that's a really big thing for collective messages this week is don't fear change. Make sure that we don't stay the same. It can feel really uncomfortable to be uncomfortable, but ultimately we're not going to grow when we're comfortable and we're doing the same patterns, we're doing the same habits, we're repeating the same things. So I do think that you need to embrace this change and acknowledge that it is going to free you from the Nine of Swords energy of overthinking, feeling really anxious, almost wondering what somebody's doing or if somebody's telling the truth. Is somebody telling me what's actually happened, for example? So just acknowledge that this is actually a blessing that this person or whoever it is has sort of been removed from your life. This connection needed to end, and ultimately you need to see that that's a blessing in disguise. Please excuse me. The next card is the Three of Wands, and again, this is communication for this deck, and it's clarified by the Page of Swords. So I think that this is you learning how to communicate maybe your needs, your wants, your feelings, and it's 515 as I said that. Maybe it's you learning how to communicate in a connection or even in a business front or in any form of partnership or any situation where you need to collaborate with people. It's important that we learn how to speak to people and also how to process things that we potentially don't want to hear as well. There's something here with the Five of Swords about acknowledging that you need to understand when it comes to communication that not everything deserves a reaction, not everything deserves your energy, and sometimes we do have to put things down and walk away from them. That is the best thing that we could do to protect our own energy and our own sanity. Ultimately, it's about prioritizing our own needs before we prioritize anybody else's. So make sure that you are judging and reviewing how you communicate with people, how you receive communication. I think it's very easy to act from a place of ego and get defensive. So just make sure that you're putting yourself on a pedestal. You're acknowledging that sometimes we do need to take the high road, and you might want to absolutely lose your mind at someone or be somebody's karma, and it was 616 when I said that. But ultimately, you need to learn that things happen in divine timing. Things will continue to flow regardless of the action that you choose to make. But ultimately, you need to put yourself on a pedestal, prioritize you, and make sure you're looking after your own light, because you are moving through a cycle right now that's really transformative, and ultimately it's about standing strong in your power, and the end result is the Emperor. And I've just clocked as well that the Ten of Cups is on the bottom. So stand strong in your path. Acknowledge that although it can feel tough, it can feel tense, you are very much on the way towards happiness, standing strong in your power, but don't become the Emperor in terms of, I feel like the Emperor's not great with communication or showing their emotion. So just make sure you're not embodying that side of the Emperor, but definitely embody the strengths of standing strong in your power, having everything at your disposal and knowing that you've got really strong foundations that no one can break. And ultimately you're well on your way to the Ten of Cups. It's just about continuing to do the work so that effectively the 3D reality can catch up. It's about acknowledging that things happen for our greatest good, and sometimes things need to change so that we can change and get to where we need to be, which in turn is a much higher, lighter cycle. Please do drop me a comment and let me know if this reading resonated. I'd also really appreciate if you could give the video a thumbs up and also hit subscribe. I'm trying to reach 500 subscribers by July 2026, and I'd really appreciate your support. So thank you, Pile 1. I'll see you on the next one. Welcome, Pile 2. This is your message if you were drawn to Pile 2, whether that be for the cards themselves or the citrine necklace, which was signifying or highlighting pile number 2. Citrine to me is the crystal of Leo. I'm a Leo. I heavily resonate with citrine. It's also the crystal of abundance, attracting wealth, and ultimately raising your vibration so you can align with the things that you want to actually align with and bring into this reality. There's something with this collective, and this is where you need to identify whether this is to do with a past person and it's still to do with a love connection, or whether this is about a past person / situation and now this is about your own nourishment and your own goals. To me, it speaks about you finding the truth out about a situation, ultimately having to be uncomfortable to get comfortable so that you can end up thriving and giving your love to the right person. So I'm going to read it exactly how I interpret it, but obviously take it how it resonates, leave what doesn't. Let's get into it. So your first card was Justice, which in this deck is about truth. And the second card is the Nine of Wands, which in this deck is about fear. And the third card is the Empress, which is all about nourishment. So we'll do them one by one and we'll get straight into it. So Justice is about the truth. And Justice to me, when I read intuitive tarot with my actual tarot deck, speaks all about finding the balance, knowing that we've all got light, we've all got dark within us. And I'm actually drawn within the light and the dark here as well. So it could be a Leo and a Cancer, for example. But ultimately, it's about finding that balance within our own energies and identifying that divine timing and karmic intervention are very much at play. And unfortunately, those things can feel delayed. So if someone hurt you or a situation hurt you or wronged you and made you feel like you want karma or you want justice or you want this thing to actually be impacted in the same way that you was, it's about acknowledging that you don't need to play karma for anybody. You need to just sit back, focus on yourself, focus on your own goals. Naturally, you'll attract the people who authentically align with you, and karma will do its thing to the people who didn't. So it's clarified by the Three of Swords, which to me is about third parties. It doesn't necessarily have to be that your previous partner or your current partner or whatever it is cheated on you with a different person or something. It could be that you had a lot of distractions with work, or there was something with like low vibrational activities, habits, addictions that took a lot of your energy away from a connection. It could be your connection with yourself, your connection with family. It doesn't have to be romantic, but there's definitely something here about third-party interference taking away your energy or distracting somebody's energy. And ultimately, it impacted your emotions, but it also impacted your wish fulfillment as well. I feel like this thing, whatever it was, could have been a dream that you've always had, whether that be that you've always wanted a supportive partner, real loving, safe, protective home and family. But this third-party situation definitely impacted your dreams and your goals. And it could be that it distracted you from actually committing to the cause, putting the energy into your path, putting the energy into the thing that you actually want to grow. And ultimately, you've distracted yourself with the Three of Swords. You've fallen for that distraction trap rather than being fully committed to yourself, your own process, your own journey. So just make sure that from here on out, you are fully committed to whatever journey it is that you're focusing on. And if your wish fulfillment's changed, just acknowledge that if it was wish fulfillment with another person, for example, unfortunately people do change. And I always think it's better to leave that cycle rather than stay stuck in that cycle, basically impacting your energy and your reality moving forward. So just acknowledge that things happen for a reason. For things to grow and develop, we need to be fully committed to the cause. And if it's in terms of your emotions, it's okay to sit with your emotions and to nurture them. That's how ultimately you level up and become a much better version of yourself. There's also something about you acting on an idea. So make sure that if you are receiving any intuitive downloads towards, I don't know, content creation, going for a promotion at work, moving to a different city, whatever it is, it's being confirmed as being a really good choice. So obviously view this thing with balance. Make sure you're using your own unbiased judgment on this thing. But ultimately the universe is telling you that this is going to be a positive thing for you to put your energy into. So don't feel like, if connections have changed and it is in terms of a lover and it's about a relationship, don't feel like you've lost somebody, for example. I know it's difficult, I know it's tough, but ultimately you're going to build something really beautiful for yourself, and then the right people will naturally start to flow in. The next card is the Nine of Wands, which is fear. And actually the Nine of Wands came out to clarify itself. So it speaks about not being afraid to be seen. So don't be afraid to be seen. Don't keep yourself small. Don't have self-limiting beliefs. And ultimately, don't fear connections either. Don't fear either A, coming into union with yourself, or B, getting to know somebody in the future. Don't let previous connections self-sabotage your future connections. It's important that you do maintain your boundaries and you stand strong on whatever barriers you put up, but ultimately you can't be defensive. You can't keep yourself sheltered away and stop yourself from enjoying real genuine connections or just enjoying life in general. There's also a real need for you to be patient and acknowledge that you are undergoing quite a transformation at this time, whether it's physically or with your energy. whatever's happening right now is going to require patience. And this is where you need to take yourself out of your own head and acknowledge that while we move from one cup into another, it does take a lot of time, but ultimately you are on the yellow brick road and you're moving towards success. And it was 0550 as I said that. So there's a lot of mirrored numbers in this message. So make sure you are keeping an eye out for angel numbers and what you're actually thinking about when you see those numbers, because normally that's the biggest thing that people miss. They see 111, but they don't think about what they're actually thinking about when they see those numbers. So make sure you are paying attention to your thoughts. And ultimately with the 10 of Pentacles, don't have a fear again about being seen. Don't have a fear of your ability to be able to achieve something, because you are more than capable of achieving whatever it is you want to achieve. And also, when you do get there, don't feel like certain people should be there or say, oh, it's a shame that John messed up and went with Jenny or whatever, because John should be here. He knew that I tried really hard to make this happen. It's not about that. It's about doing it for yourself. Let John go. Let whatever third party distraction distracted you or your connection, let that go. It's time to move forward and acknowledge that you are the sun and you do radiate so much warmth, but the Empress asks you to nourish yourself, and it's clarified by the Queen of Cups, which is the card of nourishment. It's about sitting with your own light, sitting with your own emotions, and ultimately becoming the King of Cups, where you can stand strong on your decisions and you can acknowledge that, yeah, I'm acting from an emotional point of view, or actually I need to review this in a much more biased or an unbiased way. So it's about becoming more emotionally intelligent, more emotionally aware, and also acknowledging how much of your energy you need to give to others. Sometimes you need to actually walk away here with the 7 of Cups from whatever it is that no longer serves your highest purpose. It's about moving towards things that might feel a little bit uncomfortable, but ultimately we'll never grow and we'll never change if we just keep ourselves small and comfortable. So acknowledge that you do need to continue to put yourself out there and keep doing the work. You don't need to go into hermit mode and isolate yourself to protect your energy. Ultimately, you need to go out there with the citrine, be attractive, attract that abundance, raise your vibrations, nurture yourself, nurture your goals, because you're going to achieve something really, really nice. You've got the King of Pentacles and the 10 of Pentacles, and you're going to be in a state where you can give back to others and support the people that you generally want to support. But ultimately, you need to fill your own cup before you move forward to supporting people. So just make sure you're nourishing you before you're nourishing other people, and acknowledge that once you've continued to put the work in and you've nourished your own light and you've worked on your projects, you've worked on your pentacles, ultimately the right people will come in for you, and you will be able to use your discernment and stand strong in your intuition and say, these are my boundaries, these are the things I'm sticking to. You can have X, Y, and Z of my time, but you can't have A, B, and C. So don't be afraid to make boundaries. Don't be afraid to say, this doesn't work for me, for example. Please do drop me a comment and let me know if this reading resonated. I'd also appreciate if you could like the video and hit subscribe, because it helps the messages reach a wider collective, and I'm really trying to reach 500 subscribers by July 2026. So that would really help me out. Thank you. And I will see you, pile 2, on the next one. Welcome, pile 3. If you were drawn to pile number 3 because of the cards or because of the crystal is a rose quartz, so you might want to look into the properties of rose quartz. But to me, it's all about attracting love, but also coming into union with yourself and finding more ways to love yourself and actually just see the beauty in the general day-to-day world. So definitely invest in some rose quartz if you haven't already, or look further into its properties and see how they resonate with you. This reading's a little bit conflicting, but we'll go through it step by step. And obviously, as always, take it as it resonates. It is a collective reading, and apply it to your situation, how it fits it best. But the first 3 cards that you got was, first of all, the King of Cups, which in this deck represents support, I believe. Yep, support. The next one is Queen of Swords, which is independence, and then the next one is 10 of Wands, which is all about burdens. So we'll get straight into them and we'll see what they've been clarified by with my usual deck down here. So the King of Cups, support. I really feel like this collective need to acknowledge that it's okay to ask for support, or you shouldn't feel weak or like your independence has been taken away from you because you've asked for support, or you've lent on people, or you've lent from people, for example. You need to acknowledge that sometimes it can be tough for us all to see a way forward, but don't get defensive with your emotions, and definitely don't get defensive with asking for help. It's about being fully committed to the process. So if there's something that you want help with, it's important that you ask for help, whether that be from spirit, the universe, whatever it is that you believe in, or whether that be physically from people that support us and that are around us. But also, I'd make sure that you're monitoring your emotions, you're doing the healing work, and you're acknowledging your thoughts and feelings around asking for support, and really challenge yourself as to why you're so resistant to ask for help. And it could be that I, for one, hate when people do things for me, because previous connections have thrown that back in my face and said, well, I help you with everything, or oh, I always do this for you. And that in turn makes me defensive moving forward about people doing things for me. But ultimately, I've acknowledged that it's a me issue, and not everyone is going to throw something back in my face. So just make sure that you're not ignoring your emotions, and you're being very open to how things are and how things are being shown to you as well. And also, definitely be open to seeing how you're spending your energy and who you're spending your energy with. I'll be very mindful about sharing, first of all, your ideas and what it is that you're working on with certain people. So definitely use your discernment when it comes to those that surround you. But ultimately, don't be afraid to ask for help from people. I feel like you're somebody who would go out of their way to help others. So don't fear asking for help from other people. You'd never judge somebody for helping them, so don't feel like other people are going to judge you when you ask for help, for example. And ultimately, you need to acknowledge that this thing that you're undergoing, this process, it is just that. It's a journey, it's a process. It's something that's not going to happen overnight. The cycle's not going to complete when you wake up tomorrow morning. It was 3-3 as I said that. It's about continuing to chip away at the things that you want to work on, whether that be your own emotional healing, your finances, your own goals, whatever it is that you need support with. Ask for support and acknowledge that you will be in a place at some point to give back to other people as well. You know, we're not always going to be in this current reality. The next card is the Queen of Swords, and it's about independence. And to me, the Queen of Swords in this deck gives me like a very mystical feel. It makes me feel like she is magic. She can create her own world. She sat strong on her throne. And ultimately, that's how the cards clarify it as well. The first card that came out was the Queen of Swords, and it's followed by the Tower. So I see whatever this collective are going through this week, the advice is to learn how to deal with things when things go wrong. Make sure that you're acknowledging, once again, your emotions to certain situations and your reactions to situations as well. I think you need to learn how to alchemize the energy from negativity or from tower moments, and how to use them to your advantage, how to embody the transformative journey of the Queen of Swords, and ultimately acknowledge that you are divinely guided. Someone is looking after you. You have got your independence, and this bird to me also signals freedom. It's about acknowledging that you just need to nourish whatever it is that you want to grow. The Page of Pentacles to me speaks about nourishing your finances, nourishing your growth, nourishing whatever material things you actually want to grow in this current reality. And the Page of Cups is to me about nourishing your emotions, making sure that you acknowledge that we're not quite at the Knight of Cups and we're a long way from the King of Cups, but ultimately it all starts with you. It's time to start nourishing your emotions. But I'd also, again, be very mindful about who you're sharing ideas and things with at this time. Make sure that you are open to asking for help and support from the right people, and you're using your discernment when it comes to who you're actually asking for support or who you're sharing your ideas with. But ultimately, this whole cycle is arming you with the necessary tools to move forward and be successful in the next one. So acknowledge that this isn't forever. I know it can feel really long and drawn out and quite overwhelming at times, but just make sure that you're staying strong on this path, and you're reminding yourself that the next cycle is going to be a lot brighter and a lot lighter, and that's something you need to remember for the week ahead. The next card was the Ten of Wands, burdens, and to me, it speaks about you feeling like you're a burden, but the universe is giving you strength to actually get through the Nine of Swords. Whatever it is that you're anxious about or you're worrying about at the moment, the universe is sending you strength. So again, acknowledge that you're not on your own in this journey. And the Four of Swords speaks about keeping yourself small and keeping yourself trapped, but ultimately in the stained glass window, there's somebody here who can help you. And once again, somebody's looking over you. So you are very protected. This collective is very protected, and you shouldn't feel like you're a burden, because I feel like you've got a great spirit team who are leading the right people into your life. There's something that you're failing to see with the moon, so make sure that you're not taking things at face value and you are truly seeing people's true colours. And as always, you're removing your bias and you're actually looking at things without your rose tinted glasses on. ultimately you're learning with the Page of Swords how to build a solid foundation and how to move forward with the right people and celebrate with the right people as well. This to me is the card of building a nice solid home and celebrating with the right people who support and uplift you. So don't shy away from any learning this week as well, and acknowledge who's there for your greatest good and who's actually there to support your purpose as well. Because again, unfortunately, not everyone's there to support us and the goals that we want to achieve. So just make sure you're using your discernment. Please do drop me a comment and let me know if this reading resonated. I'd also appreciate if you could like the video and hit subscribe, because it helps A, the messages reach a wider collective, and B, it makes me feel happy because I'm well on my way to the goal of 500 subscribers. And once we get there, we'll give a little tarot reading, private giveaway. That made absolutely no sense, but you know what I meant. I'll see you on the next one, pile 3. So there we have it. That is all 3 piles complete, and I think they were really positive messages. I think it's important to know that you are all protected by your own ancestors and guides, and ultimately all of you are on a journey that's going to create something really beautiful in the future. It's about staying strong right now and acknowledging that we need to take those messages on board for the week ahead. So moving forward, think about how you're going to apply those messages to your week, and then please do drop me a comment if you haven't already and let me know how your message resonated. I'd also appreciate if you could hit like and subscribe, because I'm trying to hit 500 subscribers by July 2026. And I really appreciate all the support. I promise the next one won't be late. I will do it on Monday, and I'll see you on the next one.